Okay, so now it's time to start to sculpt. Your maquette's done. So now it's time to start to make something. I'm going to grab this leaf right here. It's going to be the leaf of the hour here. Okay. I'm going to duplicate the shape of the bottom here. Duplicate border. I can go ahead and join those back together again. I just want the curve. Well, that's not an easy shape to sculpt with. It's just not. So I need to make something that's easy for me to sculpt with. I don't need this notch out of the bottom. I can do that when I assemble it, so I don't need this anymore. I don't need that. And that's not working for me either. I'll join those two back together again. Then I'll blend them. So I get a regular kind of a petal shape that I can work with. I like that. Remember, we can't do points. We have to surface points separately. So I'll decide how much of the point I'm going to surface separately. I want the line that I draw to be kind of perpendicular to these two curves, something that's kind of averaged between the two. That's good. I'm going to split this. Join these back together again. I'm going to throw these pieces away. I have lots of gray curves up here that are kind of scary. I'm going to change them to a color I can see, because if I don't, I'm going to throw them away accidentally. And then I'll hide them. I can't do this end either. I have to have two curves. Same thing, I want it to be kind of perpendicular to both curves, kind of averaged between the two. Something like that. And I'll split that off. Here are my two curves. I can work with those. I can either model this onto the end, or I can cut it off of the end. Since this is going to be going inside of the stone, inside of the setting, I may not have to do anything. Oh look, that whole thing is inside of there. I don't have to do anything in here. I can just throw that away. That makes me happy. The less I have to do, the better. I'll leave that curve in case I want it later. I'm going to rebuild these. Yeah. I don't care how many points it takes, though. Notice how when you have the preview on here, you can see what the new curve is going to look like. That's really close. I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest with you.
You're 6'9".
Yeah. So that's good. And so all I have to do now is create a surface. I'm going to see what loft gives me, because that's the easiest surface. Ooh. Pick at the same end. It just got confused. Really? That's a-okay. It's alright. There's my surface. I'm going to rebuild it so that I have the kind of points I want. I need a point centered down the middle. So I'm going to rebuild and see what I have. See, right now, I have 4 and 14. That means I can tell where the 14 is, because obviously it's the long piece where I have lots of rows. And 4 is where I don't have a lot of rows. Okay. 14 is actually pretty good. I don't think I have to change that. I might even take it down to 12. 7's pretty good. But I'll make it even easier for now. I'll make it 5. I'm going to sculpt with that. So now I'm going to bring back my maquette. Grab my gumball, grab the top arrow, pull it up until my surface breaks on top. Turn on the points. Remember, I've pulled these over here. This button is actually under Select. It's this toolbar here. I just pulled it over and docked it. Okay. Same thing here. This toolbar is just visibility toolbar put over here. So, in case you get home and look at the video and go, what on earth? I don't have those. You do. They're just not in the same place. Oops. Wrong way. You always have to try once to see which way it is. On this surface, those are the right way. Grab the outside. Same thing, select the whole row. It's not a bad little surface. I'm going to grab the center row. I'm going to lift it up a little bit because it kind of got droopy. And then I want the center row to line up with that ridge that you have. So I'm going to invert and hide, so the only points I have to look at are those. I'm going to go into the top view. I'm going to go wireframe. And I'm going to try and keep these, not going to use gumball. I'm going to try and keep these in as straight a line as I can with the rest of their points. I'll move this one. Now this one's important because it has to go straight. So I'll use near and I'll slide it. This one I'll just move by eye until it's somewhere kind of where I want it to be. Same thing here. Same thing here. Same thing here. These end ones I have to keep straight, so I'll slide it and slide it. Grab this guy. Okay. Now, what I've just done has caused a lot of trouble. You can't see it yet because the other points aren't turned on. But when I turn the points on, oh, I'm actually okay. The points have enough room. But I want you to see what's happened. Okay?
So you basically move the point to the right so then it could
follow your surface. Okay? I'm going to come back in here now and line these other points up so they make sense. And the way I'll do that is I'll grab one row at a time, hide the rest. I'll actually turn off the white. See how these are all pushed over this way now? I'm going to distribute them more evenly. There's not much I can do at this end, but I'll still try and make it a little more even. Turn on my points, grab the next row, do the same thing. Kind of halfway in between. That's actually pretty good. I don't have to mess with that one much. F11, turn points off. F10, turn them back on. Grab this row of points. Oops. Hit the wrong button. And it's the same idea. I'm just moving it so that the points seem to be more evenly dispersed. Because what's going to happen in a minute is I'm going to have to add more points to get that sharp point that you have. And if I add more points and everything's kind of screwy, I'll get some strange things. So I want to kind of move things around so it's more regular. It's a canvas. Like I said in class, when you do control point editing, you want it to be predictable. You don't want any surprises. So the easier you can make it for yourself, the better. I can do more than one at a time. I'll pick 3. Work with these 3 guys. The one I can't move is this one. But I'll move that one to center it up more, and that one to center it up more. And I'll move this one to center it up more, and I'll move this one to center it up more. And this one. So I'm getting kind of an even spread. This one. And I'm paying attention to how these are flowing also. Okay. This is the one I can't move because this is the one that I put on top of the seam. In fact, I can check it. See, they're still on top of the seam. That one I can't move. All right. This is the row I just finished. Right here. So these are the next 3 rows I'm going to do. I might include this row just for reference to look at it. Same thing. I don't know how grid snap got turned on. That's a bad idea.
When you move the point, you move it from outside, not inside. Right?
Yeah, I never touch the points. Did you ever see Minority Report with Tom Cruise? The psychics who live in a bathtub that foretell crime that's going to happen in the future, and then Tom Cruise goes and stops the crime. Excellent show. Rent it on Netflix. Okay. In the whole movie, and the other movies do it too, sci-fi movies, you have this big screen. He's a cop. He's a future cop. And so he's grabbing things, and he's moving them around so he can look at different scenes on this big TV screen. But he never puts his hand on the picture. He puts it next to the picture. And puts them where you've seen this in science fiction movies. Why doesn't he put his hand on the picture? Because if he puts his hand on the picture, he can't see the picture. His hand would be in the way. Right? So he puts his hand next to the picture. That's the same thing I'm doing here. There's no reason for me. In Rhino, it's all relative positioning. Rhino, when you do a move command in Rhino, all it wants to know is where from, where to. Where from, where to. As long as it's the same distance in the same direction, Rhino doesn't care where I start and end. Only time it matters is if I'm using an object snap. And I'm not using an object snap. I'm going, so yes, whenever I work by eye, I click over here. Because I can see the point that way. And actually this is starting to go the other way, so I will straighten these out. Move this one back over a little bit. And I don't know if I have gin next or not, so keep an ear open.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So, I'm going to grab my last sets of points over here. Select all the rows, invert and hide. I mean, I don't have to invert and hide. I just do because it's easier to look at. It's less crazy on my screen. Especially when you start getting a lot of control points. We don't have a lot of control points right now, so it's not a problem. But that's pretty good, I think, Carminaoh. I think that's... I'm going to look and see if I see anything weird. Okay, that's a little weird. I want all my little dotted lines to look kind of smooth. Okay, some weirdness over here. Little weirdness here. My fault for doing 3 rows at a time. I gotta say, that's alright. Maybe move this one over a little bit. Notice how I'm not shaded in the viewports? I can't even see what I'm doing. I don't care. What matters to me is two things. That I'm making a nice pattern, a nice grain of control points. That's the first thing. And that I make sure I'm not ruining things. The only way I can ruin this Carminaoh is if I move the points up and down. Because if I move them up and down, that sculpting I did just a minute ago where I made it do this, I'm going to ruin it. It's going to look like craziness. How do I make sure they don't go up and down? Because I just use the C-plane. This C-plane I can't move up and down. I can only move this way. And that's the same in perspective, by the way, because it uses the same C-plane. It uses the top C-plane. So I can only move this way, this way. I can't move up and down. To move up and down, I'd have to use a vertical C-plane. Now I'm in danger. Because now if I grab one of these points and I move, right? So, yeah, the only thing I was worried about was that I couldn't destroy anything this way, and that I made my points more smooth, my pattern better. I like that, Carminaoh. That's starting to happen. So now what I need to do is I need it to work more with your original maquette. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to start taking points this direction. And I am going to, now I'm going to go vertical. That's a little scary. I'm going to go into my right hand C-plane. Right view. I'm going to move this down until it comes close to, I'm actually going to move it down until the bottom of my control points come here. Alright. Next row back. I'll just grab a point and hit that button. That way I don't have to come in here and try and select. That button will select all of them in that direction. Keep doing that today. Move them down until the bottoms reach. You'll see why in a minute. It's because the tops are too high already. Alright, now for these guys, they're all about the same. Move them down so their bottoms touch, pretty much. And now these guys I'll do one at a time. Down to that line. Now, this part's inside of the stone setting, so I don't really care where it goes, but I'll make it so it's nice and smooth. Down to the same line. Now what you're going to see that we've done, if I stop in the right C-plane, right viewport, is the whole thing's gotten a little bit low, but we've set them all up along this bottom edge, which is pretty good. I want them along that bottom edge. So I'm going to make sure they're exactly on that bottom edge. How can I do that, Carminaoh? How can I make sure that all those points are exactly at that level? Rhymes with C-plane.
Front C-plane?
I'm going to create a C-plane. I'm going to come into something that's at this exact level. Like that corner. I'm going to use end snap and just draw a horizontal circle parallel to the top C-plane, like that. I'm going to set the C-plane to that object. New C-plane. I'm going to grab the two bottom rows of points, select them all the way around, and I'm going to project them to C-plane. Delete, yes. Now you didn't see much happen. But if you look in close and I undo, they moved a little bit. They're all perfectly flat now. Perfectly flat.
This is like the spoon.
Yes, this is exactly like the spoon. Okay, so now that looks pretty good, except for it's all the wrong elevations. Fine, I don't care about that. Right now I'm going to fix it. So now I'm going to do the same thing. Go back to the front. I'm going to select that row. I'm going to do a non-uniform scale. Non-uniform scale is going to be my tool for a few minutes. Point snap, so I can grab this point. Don't want to scale there. I want to scale here, and I'm going to pull it down till it matches your maquette. And I want nothing in the Z direction, so I type 1, enter. Grab the next row. Non-uniform scale. Oh, for some reason it's not registering it. Okay. Oh, come on. Thank you. Rhino. Oh, select you. Non-uniform scale. Thank you. I was repeating a command it already had done. Nothing for that direction. A little bit here. Nothing for that direction. The points aren't what I'm watching. The edge of the surface is what I'm watching. Going to grab this. Non-uniform scale. And this time, Carminaoh, I have to scale up a little bit. Nothing in Z. Grab this one. Non-uniform scale. Grab the bottom point. Nothing in that direction. And see, the bad news about Rhino is that because there's a degree of curvature, you have to do everything twice. Because this point affects that point, it's too high. I don't care. I'm going. I just keep going. Because I don't want to take time. Now something weird happened there. I see a mistake. See how these points stay low and those go high? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm picking the wrong row. I started to pick that one. That would have been bad. It wouldn't have been a big deal. I'd have just made a dent. And every so often, Carminaoh, when you're doing this, you got to go take a look. See what you're getting. Not bad.
No.
Okay. All right. I can see that all of these are low. These are all low to about here. I'm going to grab the whole bunch. Non-uniform scale them all at once. Grab that point. Pull them all up together. Why not? Get them about even with the top. Grab this one. Select it. Non-uniform scale. By the way, it doesn't matter which point I grab. They're all at the same level, so it doesn't really matter. I grab one of those points if I can see it, but if I don't see it, I don't care. It's like, yeah, I just went to the trouble to make sure all the points were the exact same level, so it doesn't matter which one I grab. I'll grab the 3 of these guys. Do the same thing to them. Something like that. Grab the last 2. Something like that. I think yours goes down too much, so I'm not going to follow it. We'll see. Okay, so there's some craziness. This one's crazy, so I'll fix it. But it's how it works. You refine. You kind of sketch. You sketch a little cleaner. You sketch a little cleaner, just like any kind of artwork. When it's perfect, you stop. Grab these 3 because they're about equally messed up. They're all a little bit high. Oh, that's really good. Carminaoh, that's pretty much it. I keep going past perspective. See how I can actually see your surface through that surface?
Yeah.
Right? So, going to turn your surface off. Bring back my setting. That's nice. That works.